I'd like to welcome our presenters today for our topic on state and local public agency partnerships. Today we have Michael Johnson from the North Dakota DOT Local Government Division, Gabe Schell from the City of Bismarck, Alayna Jirava from the North Dakota DOT Local Government Division, and Tom Soucy from the Cass County Highway Department. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Stacy. So, theme of our presentation here today is partnerships, and I had something happen to me this morning that I thought was a perfect tie-in to get us started. I could have used a partner this morning. So I'm getting ready, and you can tell this is how long I've been working from home. I'm getting ready, and I'm like, okay, I gotta find khakis, and I gotta iron khakis. So I'm putting that, I'm all ready. My wife's gone to work, my kids have gone to school, I'm all alone, and I'm ironing my khakis, and I proceed to burn my khakis. They were the only khakis ready, so I am wearing those khakis today. So I could have really used a spotter this morning to help me out. And if you're here tomorrow, tune in to see me in the morning, because the pair I have tomorrow is even lighter, so you'll probably be able to see the entire iron outline on my pants. So thanks everyone for coming. We're still trickling in, but that's great. We're here to talk about partnerships between the North Dakota Department of Transportation and our LPAs. And the group here is going to go through examples of unique instances when we've done that beyond the typical interactions, and kind of give you a little history of options that have been done and opportunities available. So the department completes many projects on a yearly basis and a majority of those projects involve some sort of LPA coordination. Coordination can be as simple as involving the LPA or notifying them of the project that we're coming in and we're doing some work. Or if it's a more complex project, we have a much more in-depth partnership with the LPA related to work items, cost, and possibly maintenance responsibilities. The most common coordination that you'll see on our roadway transportation projects is the incorporation of city utilities, city water, city sanitary sewer. That actually happens quite a bit on our reconstruction projects. This allows both entities to optimize the opportunity to get in, get out. One team, one impact to the public, one notification to the public, optimizing for the best use of our resources and our delays and traffic impacts to the public. Very successful process that we've done. But we also have some other non-typical coordination and partnership efforts with items that we wouldn't normally do as part of a project, and they're probably, in most cases, a locally funded effort, but we're able to kind of incorporate those things. So I'm going to go through a couple of examples. One example we had, it was up in Williston on US Highway 2. We had a reconstruction of the highway corridor from 32nd Avenue to 11th Street, about 1.5 miles of roadway reconstruction. Along with this, or prior to the project, the city had recently completed a regional drainage study, and this 32nd Avenue intersection and corridor to the south was identified as an area needing improvement to capture water, split some water, move it, split it so before it went downstream to its final destination. So we were able to coordinate and partner with the city on that effort. This involved the installation of a new box culvert under US Highway 2. That's the top orange arrow you see up in front of you. But it also required us to add 2 additional box culverts. One is under the driveway access point to the ready mix facility, and then the other is for the eventual crossing into the railroad right-of-way under the Front Street and 32nd Avenue intersection. Our partnership with the city really centered on identifying those drainage needs, both for the roadway and also for the local system. How can we incorporate those things into our project? What do we need to do? What's the groundwork we need to lay? The biggest thing, a lot of you have experienced working on our projects, is study area. We got to really make sure we have our study area defined so that we have all of that work incorporated within our environmental clearances. And then also dealing with funding. Who's paying for what? What's eligible? What isn't eligible? And then eventually maintenance of these activities. So that's a really good opportunity for us to partner together and work together on those things. Another example is in West Fargo, the interchange with Interstate 94, Veterans Boulevard and 9th Street. This was a new interchange. The department had come through and built and paid for the overpass, and then the city or cities worked to construct the ramps shortly thereafter. So we had to coordinate and partner with the city on interchange approvals, justification reports, construction timelines and coordination to make sure that everything was lining up so that both elements could be constructed. And then also, same thing, funding, who's paying for what, what's eligible, what isn't, and then eventual maintenance of those activities. Beyond our roadway projects, we do also partner with our LPAs on transportation planning elements. So the department has a state planning and research program that provides federal funding for transportation studies, whether it be a corridor study or a long-range transportation plan. In a lot of instances, we will work with our LPAs to also do additional elements that may not be federal aid eligible, or there be a comprehensive plan look of their entire city so that they can do the transportation element and the comprehensive element all at the same time. You get one consultant team working on it, you get one public outreach effort, and one coordinated effort to kind of bring all that together. We've done quite a few of these across the state. Dickinson, Valley City, and Williston and Jamestown have been some recent good examples of us of completing this. And we're now starting to work with one of our newest urban cities, Watford City. They became urban as part of the new census, and we're working with them to do something similar in our SBR program. Development coordination. This is another one that's a really good partnership between our LPAs and the department. Oftentimes, our LPAs get requests for new development along both their system or along the state highway system, and coordination is required with the department to analyze access locations, impacts, implementation. Is there any other work necessary to complete the development? And this is just a handful of examples of many over the years, but just some good examples. We had the Mandan Sports Complex, some of you may be familiar with. 1806 was a rural two-lane highway at the time, and it was slated to be that at day of opening, so we partnered with the city to widen that roadway for the extent of the development area so that the roadway was ready for that development, and then we followed it up with a reconstruction a year or two later. Mandan High School is a newer one that's being worked on right now, 1806 in Mandan as well. Similar impacts analysis, looking at how that might affect the newly constructed roadway that we did, new roundabout that we did, making sure all that still works. Minot, we had a distribution facility off of the bypass. This one had impacts related to how far access points are from our major intersections, and then how far the access point for the facility is off of our highway to make sure that this facility can operate within itself without impacting the state highway. Valley City loves truck stop. A lot of you have seen that on the southeast side of town at the exit 292. This was a brand new traffic generator at that interchange. It changed possibly the major movement of trucks at that interchange, as the truck stop to the northwest was probably receiving a lot of the trucks, and now there's an analysis to split them and move them around. So we coordinated on those efforts for any future needs. And then in Wahpeton, we had a large future development. This is more future planning on North Dakota 210. Large mixed-use development. Some of the main pieces that we needed to bite off early on were access changes. The department has access control along that highway. Access changes were proposed, so we needed to coordinate with the city on that and what changes might be needed for that. And then the last one is a pedestrian crossing in Fargo. It's in the portion that we just recently reconstructed here a few years ago, but there's a new development happening on the north side of Main Avenue that's then going to be utilizing a parking garage on the south side of Main Avenue mid-block. So the city had approached us about the possibility of constructing a pedestrian crossing mid-block. And we worked with them to determine whether or not, or how impactful it would be to our recently rebuilt road, adding some bulb outs, making sure drainage is taken care of, we're not additionally impacting utilities that were already installed, and what type of elements we can provide for additional enhanced pedestrian crossing. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Gabe, and he's going to speak a little more closely to LPA coordination.
Thanks, Michael. I guess I have three themes really to talk about. The first one is just continuing that development theme. This is US 83, or State Street, as we call it in Bismarck. I'm going up and down on our sheet. This old alignment over here was the previous alignment for US 83. Once it was reconstructed in the 60s, this became straight on the section line. But it really left up an open corridor for development to occur. And that development that has occurred has been mostly commercial retail in nature. So we, as the City of Bismarck, will coordinate with the DOT, much the same as Michael said, on the approval of traffic operations, off-site mitigation for those traffic impacts that occur, the recommendations, making sure we're in alignment with those, as well as then the ultimate construction of those facilities. And the city oftentimes is that conduit, especially in the urbanized area, between the DOT and that developer wanting access. So in this instance, we had multiple intersection type improvements. Primarily turn lanes, traffic signals, lighting, those sorts of items, municipal facilities, crossings, water mains, et cetera, and access modifications within the DOT's right-of-way. Concurrent with those improvements on the local roadway network, serving the properties themselves. Would mention too that we would use the DOT specification for the work that occurs within the DOT's right-of-way, but ultimately those costs are usually 100% local costs, either borne by the developer themselves or through a partnership with the with the developer and the city to fund some of those off-site improvements. And we'll be repeating that same concept starting this summer on the north end of town for a proposed fleet farm coming in 2024. The next kind of concept is in coordination theme is just really starting with planning. And in Bismarck Mandan, we have an MPO, and we had a Bismarck Mandan ped and bicycle plan that identified certain corridors and certain intersections as being not very friendly for bicycles and pedestrians. One of those was the intersection of South Washington Street and Bismarck Expressway. So that plan recommended more analysis, and through that we did a roadway audit, bringing in engineering staff from the city, PD planning from the city side, as well as then DOT district and central office staff to analyze those intersections and figure out ways that we can improve safety. That led to a traffic operations study and an application for highway safety improvement program. Meanwhile, I guess the city and the Bismarck district requested a preventative maintenance mill and overlay project on the corridor, and those two projects or concepts were kind of tied together to minimize the delay to the public. And really that's one of the themes I'd want to mention. Most of the coordination that we look for is trying to find that efficiency, and that efficiency hopefully gives the benefit to the contractor if they can be in there for less time because they have multiple work items going, or maybe to the public if the contractor is only there for a week to do that work instead of 2 weeks, because we can tie those projects together. That's ultimately the efficiencies that we're looking for. But speaking of that, we were in the midst of designing a transportation alternatives improvement sidewalk project on the north side of Bismarck Expressway that we then tied also to that preventative maintenance project that was also tied to the HSIP intersection improvement. So we have all these three projects going on together. And also, meanwhile, a developer was redeveloping a open, unoccupied car dealership parking lot and investing in that access or into that area as a car wash, and ultimately their access point onto Bismarck Expressway became a point of discussion of what they wanted there versus what the DOT and what the city would like to have there. In the end, a traffic impact study was analyzed, and then the improvements recommended in that study will be incorporated into that preventative maintenance project to be performed by the DOT's contractor, billed to the city, and then we have our agreement with the developer that bills those costs back to them. So hopefully if there are cost savings to be had, they're shared equally by all of those parties, but most importantly, we should be able to construct that facility in less time than the DOT doing their project and then the city coming in maybe the year later or a week later and doing our project after that. Now a really cool 3D rendering of what we're gonna do. Just kidding, that's just a block, I just drew that on there real quick. Just an access modification. The last item I have is more of for the STIP funding folks in the room. We at the City of Bismarck our citizens passed in 2018 a half-cent sales tax for arterial road reconstruction and construction. So with that, we will leverage both our local sales tax as well as federal aid that's available to do projects such as the ones we have on the board. 43rd Avenues have been constructed and will construct Washington Street in the future. What I want to bring your attention to, though, is the year of construction and the planning fiscal year funding. So in the City of Bismarck, we have requested some advanced construction ability from the DOT that if the federal funds might have been in year 2022, we, on a case-by-case basis, would receive permission from the DOT to construct that facility in 2020 and then be paid back by the feds in that fiscal year that it's eligible. It is on a case-by-case basis. There's compliance for Title VI that the City of Bismarck needs to be appropriately handled, as well as some extra reporting, but it does give us the ability to program projects out into the future, advance them hopefully in a year sooner than that federal aid's available. And for the DOT, there's also some flexibility there of when those dollars actually come due to the local So we might have had a project that was planned in fiscal year 2022, but for the DOT to make their program work for a given year, this is a project that would be eligible for them to advance, or I should say slide their year of reimbursement to an earlier year if that helps them build their program out in a more efficient manner as well. So that's a real win-win for all the parties, that we get our project in the ground a little bit sooner, and the DOT has a little more flexibility of how they fund and when they fund in more particular. So with that, I'll turn it over to Alayna.
All right, thank you. So I work with Michael in the local government division, but I am on the county side, whereas he is on the urban side. So I primarily work with the 53 counties in the state of North Dakota on their federal aid bridge and road projects. And with that, we have the opportunity to meet with each county individually annually at their Association of County Officials conference in October. So for 15 or 20 minutes, we get to sit face to face with the county officials, commissioners, engineers, road superintendents, and just discuss with them what their future plans look like as far as federal aid projects, and talk about funding issues that they may see, and other issues that may arise as far as the DOT and the county partnership goes. So that's kind of a neat thing that we get to do every year. I'll just talk briefly about one of the projects. I know Tom is going to talk more about Cass County projects with the DOT. But one of the projects that the DOT has coordinated with the counties on is this, the intersection of 1804 and North Washington Street in North Bismarck. When I was talking to Burleigh County and the city of Bismarck, they both said, "Oh, what are you going to say about Bismarck?" And I'm like, well, there actually was some coordination, even if they don't realize it. So Burleigh County needed to reconstruct and widen North Washington due to the city of Bismarck expanding north. And with that, they coordinated with the city of Bismarck on the lighting system. Even though the Burleigh County installed and currently maintains the lighting, they use the same system as the city of Bismarck uses. So down the road, when the city of Bismarck annexes that part of town, it'll hopefully work seamlessly with their current system. They also coordinated with the city of Bismarck on current access points and then access points into the future, and provided some, I think, water main for a development north of 57th Avenue. And so that was kind of North Washington Street. And then also, this intersection of 1804 and North Washington Street was a partnership between the state of North Dakota and Burleigh County. So Burleigh County used AutoCAD to design North Washington Street. And then the state of North Dakota had a consultant who did the design for the roundabout. And so there was some coordination there. And I know Burleigh County and the state worked with the district, the Bismarck district, and incorporated some of the design elements that the Burleigh County has used with previous roundabouts in the county, specifically the center island. And then they used shoulders and ditches on the outsides of the roundabout instead of curb and gutter to help with maintenance. So as far as maintenance goes, since Burleigh County maintains North Washington Street north and south, and the state maintains 1804 east and west, kind of whoever gets to the roundabout first for snow plowing wins. So that's kind of nice that they're able to coordinate with that. Oh, sorry about that. Those are the roads, if you don't know where you are. Another thing that I'm able to do in local government is work with, or I guess we, Pam's over here, we work with local public agencies with grant projects. One program that I'm able to work with is called the ND Street Grant Program, in which small towns with a population of less than 5,000 that also have a state highway running through them within their city limits, they're eligible to apply for these projects along the state highway. So if that makes sense. I've had a handful of projects since I took over the program a few years ago, and they range from reconstruction to ADA curb ramp, sidewalk projects, lighting projects. I think that's kind of what we've had. So this is a project that we've had in Hankinson, and through that process, the city brings forward their idea of what the project should look like, what the scope of the project should be in an application, and then there's a selection committee historically that has gone through and graded these projects and proposed which projects move forward. This ND Street Grant Program is kind of going by the wayside and is going to be taken over by a different program moving forward. But so this project in Hankinson was essentially a reconstruction project, and I think it went pretty well. And then we had a curb ramp and sidewalk project in Hettinger. So these are important to us just because the local public agency brings it forward. This is our need, how can you help us? And the DOT essentially coordinates with the consultant and puts the projects out to bid. I'll go back. One project that we currently are working on is another reconstruction project in Ashley, North Dakota. I saw Jay Prasko over here, so you can ask him at the end of the year how that actually went. But the city of Ashley brought forward this request in an application to reconstruct Highway 11 through town. And it went through the selection process and got awarded. But the city of Ashley also had 80-year-old clay pipe sanitary sewer underneath Highway 11. So they proposed that their city engineer would put together the plans, put together their plans, bid the project, and get it constructed prior to our reconstruction project starting. So that'll be this spring and summer into next year. So it's kind of nice that we got to coordinate with them. Hopefully that'll be a seamless transition throughout the project, but you can ask Jay next year how it all turned out. Another interesting type of program that we have, we work with the Air Force, Department of Defense, usually Ward County or one of the counties that these missile roads are located in. Department of Defense didn't want me to show you where all these missile routes are, but if you see a missile site here, you'll know you're on it. So I would recommend not getting out of your car and waving and trying to climb the fence, unless you want to go get picked up by, I don't know, a trooper or police or the Air Force. So anyway, so we do coordinate with the Department of Defense, Federal Highway, for these routes. Usually they're smaller gravel roads, but they do get torn up from the missile, what are they called? Missile transporters or whatever. They're very, very large. And so they do need maintenance. Sometimes they're even on township roads, so we coordinate with the townships to make sure that everything is kind of to their specs and they know what's going on. So these are kind of before. A lot of the times we just add gravel. Sometimes we widen, deal with some scouring and erosion control issues. But then into the future, we are going to look at other options as far as gravel stabilization and dust control and that sort of thing. And the nice thing about the Air Force and the Department of Defense is that they are pretty interested in looking at new technologies to implement. So, okay, so that was before, and this is after. Whoops. Yeah. So anyway, I will turn this over to Tom to talk more about county stuff.
Crank that up. Okay, today I'd like to talk to you a little bit about some of the projects that Cass County has partnered with the North Dakota DOT and other agencies. One of the projects is our Cass Highway 9 reconstruction project, and that is located about 2 miles southeast of Castleton. And if you don't know where Castleton is, it's about 20 miles or so west of Fargo, just off I-94. At that location, there's an overpass, so there's no ramps there. Our project was to reconstruct Cass Highway 9 to the south of the interchange. So that's our County Road 9 to the south. Here's I-94, east and west, and the old number 10 frontage road is there. And then to the north is actually a township road. It was a township road, but now it's a county road. I'll get to that later. So if we'd have done our typical project, we would have stopped right about where the county shield marker is there. That's where the right-of-way line is. If we would have stopped there, our widening project, we wanted to widen the road out to 28 feet wide. But the existing road was 24, and the road over the DOT's box culvert area was also 24 feet wide. So why leave a section 200 feet of a narrow road that has no shoulders? So as we kind of zoom into the box culvert a little closer, this box culvert was precast, cast in place, excuse me, and had flared aprons on it. It was a triple 8x6 box culvert. So to add on to that thing, you would have to remove those and add on to it, probably poured in place or do cast in place. It'd be kind of difficult to add on to it. But also, that box has some separation issues. I'm not sure how many have seen that. This is probably the first time I've seen it where the box that's poured, the joint right in the center, I don't know if it's through frost or what happens, but the box actually starts moving apart. So there becomes a gap in the center. There was some work done to fill this in, but that just seems to continue as the age of the structure gets older and older. So basically removing that box culvert and installing a precast box culvert was probably the best option. So with that, we coordinated with the Fargo District and the local government office and also the Bridge Division. Hydraulic study was completed with size for a double 10x8 precast box culvert. Then we bid the project locally, which shortened the design and the bidding time frame. So when we actually bid this project, we bid our County Road 9 project from that box culvert south. That was bid as one project, and then this box culvert was bid as a second project along with the mill and overlay of the overpass. Then we used a plan note on our project to coordinate the paving of all the pavement work over the overpass. So now with that longer box culvert in there, we were able to flatten the slopes and put the correct clear zone type slopes along the road. We're able to bring our 28-foot section of County Road 9, extend it over the box culvert, and tie into the radiuses on the frontage road. So nothing would have been worse than not having this. The public perception, why did they stop here? Why did they just go another 200 feet and build a road like they should have? So this was a great project. We did ride the struggle bus a little bit last summer. We had some issues getting some cement, so we did get basically County Road 9 completed, and the FDR is done, and the box culvert was installed. But we never got to the paving. We'll be doing that earlier this season. plus by bidding that, the paving and coordination note, we're able to get some better prices for the paving for the overpass, as opposed to bidding that as a standalone project. Another project is near Castleton also. So this is the town of Castleton is kind of the northwest corner of Castleton. This is State Highway 18 as it comes from the north, and it curves around to the east. There's County Road 10. And here we also had a core certified levee that protects the city of Castleton. And in that current design of that intersection, as you can see, there's definitely some issues with traffic trying to navigate around this curve, and then you have Cass 10 coming in at this point here. So, and then you also have this little kind of this little shortcut piece right here where trucks that want to go to the ethanol plant, which is actually to the west of County 10 and south. So trucks coming around this curve would have to do this tight turning movement, which is tough on the loaded truck, plus it's hard on that pavement in that section when you're turning your trailer on a short turn like that. And so definitely not a good situation. There was no turn lanes. There's a lot of conflict points there. So we needed to come up with a solution there. And here there was some coordination with basically with the city, the DOT, and the Corps of Engineers to assess the drainage needs, the extent of the project, and the funding. So the solution was to install a radial T intersection with the right turn lane coming from the north. And then we put a bypass lane in the center. And we also put this little shortcut piece in here so that the residents along Old Cass 10 still could get to their homes. Then there's actually a barricade, and there's you can't just go east anymore and go onto State Highway 18 there. It's you need to go out and use this frontage road. So so that really improved the safety of this intersection. This project actually was a DOT project, and we did the cost share part of it. We cost shared there. So that was another example of a good partnership project that we had done with the DOT. Okay. So other than the DOT partnerships, we've also done, we partnership with all our townships in Cass County. So this is kind of back to that same location again right here that I was talking about, that box culvert project where the I-94 symbol is. 2 miles to the north is County Road 10. And this is the south mile here was Durbin Township. The north mile is Harmony Township. And, you know, before we actually have a gravel facility that's 4 miles south of this interchange. So our trucks would need, our gravel trucks, our gravel is brought up by rail to this Durbin site. And when we gravel anything in the northwest or northeast part of Cass County, we then would need to get to this location. Since there are no ramps, we'd have to go on the frontage road to the west, go through the city of Castleton, or go to the east and go through the city of Mapleton. And no one wants to see a bunch of gravel trucks going through their town. So it was better for us, and for just the connectivity of all our Cass County roads so we actually have taken this road over now from the township, and it's now County Road 9. We rebuilt this road. Part of it has been rebuilt last summer, and we will finish it this summer to bring it up to current standard. But it'll still remain a gravel road, but it'll help with our graveling operations and just the connectivity of the county road system. So, other things that we do with our townships, we basically assist on any structures that are 30 square feet and larger. We replace those structures, we fund them, and we replace those structures either by contractors or our own county forces. We're also a resource for our county, our townships. If they have any questions for any road or culvert type issues, we help those out. We help them out as much as we can. So in turn, the townships, they also, sometimes we may need, we do a project, we also need their help. So we partner with them because sometimes we have to put our traffic, our trucks, our vehicles, or the public traffic on the township system. And when you have a good relationship with the townships, it's so much easier to get these projects done. And we also, if we do need to put gravel on them, that type of thing afterwards, we do that. But, they helped us that way. They've helped us with, like when we need to get right away, help us with contacts for right away. A person may know some phone numbers, that kind of thing. They help us out there. And just the history of certain, why this was built or why this structure was built. There's always someone around that township or that project area that has a good idea what happened. So that is very much appreciated. So. Other partnerships we have are with the City of Fargo, West Fargo, City of Horace, and also other cities in Cass County. Like when we do turnover projects, we coordinate with the cities, whether when the project gets upgraded prior to turnover or once the city has taken the project, we do a cost share type project so that we both. We just want to hand something over, and then all of a sudden they got this road or this bridge that's got all these problems, and it's just basically it's gonna kill their budget for how long to bring it up to current standards. So by working together as partners, we try to make that transition as seamless as possible. Other partnerships we have in Cass County are with our water resource districts. All the structures on mile lines in our county, there are several different watersheds. If there is a structure that needs to be replaced, it's replaced on a 60-40 basis, 60% water resource district and 40% county. And those projects are either led by the water resource district or by the county. We've done them ourselves. Our county forces have installed structures, box culverts, or we had contractors do it. In the water resource districts, they manage all these water issues, which we all know water can be kind of touchy sometimes. So I really appreciate that effort by the water resource districts to manage all these water and drain tile systems that we have and all the permits that come with that. So I guess lastly, when it comes to like paving projects or chip seal or striping or crack seal type projects, we don't necessarily feel that the county or the right-of-way line is like the line where the project should start or end. Sometimes it makes sense to go another 100 feet to transition, to feather in, to make the transition better. Or pave an intersection or do the extra striping here or there. In the long run, it's better for all agencies and all parties that are there. And you save money in the long run for everyone. And it's also good for public perceptions. Like, why did they stop here? Why did they just go another 25 feet? It's like, the average person has no idea that this is a state road, a county road, or a city road. They just think it's a road. They don't know where these lines are, but we have these lines. But it works best if we can kind of adjust those lines a little bit and do the best thing at the time for the project. So I would just like to thank the North Dakota DOT, Fargo District, the local government office, for all the projects over the years that I guess I've been involved with, and the highway and county staff. Paul and Brian and Kent and Alayna, and back in the days when Dave Leftwich was there, Errol and Blaine Hazel, Dave Klein, those guys, they've helped us through all these projects over the years. Federal Highway, George Szynski, he's helped with all these ER-type projects. Gary Goff, same there. Fargo District, Bob Walton, Joe Pearl, Grant Levi back in the day, Kevin Gorder, all these guys. Now Aaron is taking over the Fargo district. Mark Riley, Earl Nelson, Willie Shocker. If anybody doesn't know Willie Shocker, I mean, yeah, what an awesome guy, you know. So learned a lot from Willie. So you know, with our projects, we don't always have time to plan and kind of think through some of these things that pop up, you know, during the project. At times, you know, sometimes it's like the only thing that's constant is change, or if it ain't one thing, it's two. You know, there's always something happening with these projects. You know, you try to stay ahead of them the best you can. So we don't want to make the same mistake and jump on the struggle bus. We want to be able to partnership with all agencies and work together as partners, take the extra step if needed to maybe do a little bit more and make the project turn out great in the long run. Because in the long run, we all save money and time, and the projects, they get completed more efficiently if the person that's there could just go a little bit further and get it done, rather than rebid a project and just do this little small project. So in the end, it's better for the public perception, once again, and just to see how we get our work accomplished from the public perception that you know, that we're basically doing trying the best job possible in the time frame that we have. We work with all individuals. So I really appreciate that. With all over the years, it's been kind of fun, I guess, to do these projects with all these different agencies. So I do appreciate it. So okay. Did I go over?
No, you're fine.
Okay. All right.
All right. Thank you, presenters. Does anyone have any questions this afternoon for our presenters? All right, there we go.
So Tom, you're talking about the first project you did locally, I think you said? So, or Mike and maybe you come together. How is that different than like a deal? How is it kind of?
Well, if you had to bid it through the DOT, it's just a timeline to bid it. You'd have to have your plans in way in advance. We were allowed to bid it locally, so that really saved on the just a timeline to get it done. So yeah, that was very much appreciated.
Sure.
Working with.
What are the rules? You want to speak on that?
Yeah, and typically on the urban side, if we're doing some of that locally funded work, we're doing it as part of our federal aid bidding process. So it's part of the main project. On the urban side, we don't do a lot of local bidding. So there's a lot more requirements that go in hand if the local agency is going to do the bidding. They essentially become the department, and all the requirements that fall upon the department then fall upon that LPA. So it does not happen a lot. So that's why everything we kind of talked about here is if we can optimize those and put them as part of a larger project to capitalize on the efforts the department is already doing, that helps everyone.
And Cass County is Title VI compliant, so that also helped.
Any other questions? No questions, huh? Okay. Well, I want to thank everyone for coming to the presentation this afternoon, and I'd really like to thank our 4 presenters. I really appreciated their thoughts on how they collaborate on various projects, providing some specific examples for us on all the collaboration activities. As they mentioned, it's really been very important for us to have the good working relationships, and we really do appreciate Gabe and Tom having your partnerships along with our other LPAs. So thank you, everyone.